For the longest time, we've kind of treated data like it's this static thing, a file, a database table, something you process when it's done. But the reality is, most data isn't static at all. It's a living, breathing, unending flow of events. Today, we're going to dive into the really powerful world of stream processing, where we learn how to tame this constant flow. All right, so the very first thing we got to wrap our heads around is this need to just completely abandon the idea of done. Traditional data processing, what we call batch processing, is built entirely on this one assumption. It literally waits for all the data to show up before it even thinks about starting. Okay, let's break this down. On the left, you've got batch processing. It sees the world like a finished book. It has to read the whole thing from cover to cover before it can give you any kind of summary. But on the right, you've got stream processing. It sees the world as it actually is, a live newsfeed that never, ever stops. The input is unbounded, and the real challenge is to make sense of it all as it's happening, second by second. And here's the real problem with that batch approach. If you're waiting for the end of the day or even the end of the hour to run your job, your insights are always, by definition, about the past. I mean, think about it. For things like fraud detection or real-time recommendations or monitoring a factory floor, looking at yesterday's data is just way, way too late. So if our data is now this endless stream of letters or events, how in the world do we manage them all? Well, we need a system to receive them, sort them, and deliver them reliably. The best way to think about it is like a super efficient post office, but for data events. At the heart of our post office is something called a message broker. This is the central sorting facility. You have producers, they're the senders, who drop off messages. The broker takes them, and it makes sure they get to the right consumers or the recipients. It's the critical middleman that separates the person sending the message from the person receiving. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This shows the two fundamental ways our post office can work. On the left, we've got load balancing. You can see how the messages M1, M2, M3, and M4 are split up between the two consumers. This is like having two postal workers share a single delivery route to get the mail out faster. Then on the right, you have fan out. Here, both consumers get a copy of every single message. This is more like a newsletter, right? Every subscriber gets their own identical copy. This all sounds great when everything's working perfectly, but in the real world, systems fail. And this question right here, this is the Achilles heel of the old, simple messaging systems. What happens if a postal worker picks up a letter, but then crashes their truck before they can actually deliver it? And this diagram just perfectly lays out the nightmare scenario. Look closely at consumer 2. It grabs message M3, but then, bam, it crashes. The broker, since it never got a confirmation, assumes the message was lost, so it redelivers it. But this time it sends it to the other worker, consumer 1, which has already processed message M4. And the result? Your messages are now processed completely out of order, M4, and then M3. The original sequence is broken, and for a lot of applications, that's absolutely catastrophic. So that whole mess we just saw, it all comes down to one simple, flawed idea. Treating messages as disposable things. Once you acknowledge it, it's gone. This led to a truly revolutionary idea. What if we treated messages as permanent, unchangeable facts instead of just disposable tasks? This slide really shows that huge paradigm shift. The traditional broker on the left, it performs a destructive read. The message is read and then poof, it's deleted. But the log-based broker on the right does something totally different. It appends every single message to an immutable, ordered log. It's like an accountant's ledger. You never erase anything, you only add new entries to the end. And this right here is the modern architecture that powers systems like Apache Kafka. A topic, like user_clicks, gets broken up into partitions so it can scale out massively. Producers just add messages to the end. But the real magic is on the consumer side. They read the log in order, and they keep track of where they are with a simple number called an offset. And here's the key. Reading is non-destructive. Any number of different consumers can read the same log from any point in history without affecting anyone else. Okay, so this idea of an immutable log, it's a total game changer. And its implications go way, way beyond just messaging. It fundamentally changes how we can think about our most important systems, our databases. Let's explore how this stream of events can create what you might call a living database. This is a classic, painful problem that plagues almost every large-scale application. You've got your main database, right? But for performance, you also have a cache and a search index. So if a user updates their profile in the database, how do you guarantee that it also gets updated in the search index and the cache perfectly and consistently?
The first thing you might think to do is something called dual writes, where your application just writes to both systems. And this diagram shows exactly why that's a recipe for disaster. Because of some unlucky network timing, the database sees the writes in one order, A then B. So its final value is B, but the search index sees them in the opposite order, B then A. So its final value is A. Your systems are now silently and permanently out of sync.
So how do we fix this? Well, the answer is a really powerful technique called change data capture, or CDC. Instead of trying to write to two places at once, we treat the database as the one and only source of truth. CDC is a process that literally watches the database's internal transaction logs and broadcasts every single change, every insert, update, and delete as its own event in a stream. It basically gives the database a voice. And look at this. This is the elegance of the CDC approach. The database is now the leader. It produces one single ordered stream of every change that happens. The search index, the data warehouse, any other system, they all just become followers. They consume this log and apply the changes in the exact same order. That race condition we saw before, it's now structurally impossible. And this brings us to a really deep, almost philosophical point about data. The current state of your database, what it looks like right now, is simply the result of integrating the stream of all events that have happened over time. The stream of changes is the derivative of the state. They're just two sides of the same coin. The log is the ultimate truth. The database table you query, it's really just a cache of the latest state derived from that truth.
All right, so we've got these amazing, reliable, ordered streams of events. Awesome. Now what? How do we actually, do something with them? How do we pull out meaning and run computations on this flow that never ends?
Right, you can't just ask what's the total number of events, because the stream never ends. So we have to get clever. We use a technique called windowing. We group events into finite chunks. So instead of asking about the total, we ask, how many users signed up in each 5-minute window today? This lets us perform aggregations, like counts and sums, on a stream that's technically infinite. Okay, pay close attention to this next part, because it's a super subtle but absolutely critical concept. The top line shows what's really happening on a web server, a steady stream of events. That's event time. But what if our processor has a hiccup, restarts, and has to catch up on a backlog of events? If we measure activity based on when we process the data, we get that middle graph, a sudden, completely fake spike. The bottom graph shows the reality. Using event time when the thing actually happened is crucial for getting accurate analytics. Now, just like with old school databases, a lot of the value comes from joining data together. In streaming, that comes in 3 main flavors. You can do a stream-stream join, where you combine 2 live feeds, like correlating ad impressions with the clicks that follow. You can do a stream table join to enrich an event, like adding a user's name from a profile table to their click event. And you can even do a table-table join to maintain a real-time joined view between 2 datasets that are both changing.
So everything we've talked about so far sounds amazing, right? But making this stuff work day in and day out in a real production environment, that's a whole other beast. Let's put on our senior engineer hat for a minute and look at the hard, practical challenges.
And that brings me to this great quote from John Gall, which is really the North Star for building these kinds of systems. You don't just jump in and design the perfect, complicated, distributed stream processor from scratch. You start with a simple system that works and evolve it. And the biggest challenge you'll always face is handling failures gracefully while making sure your data stays correct.
Now, the holy grail in this world is something called exactly once semantics, which is a fancy way of saying we make it look like every message was processed one time, no more, no less, even when failures are happening all over the place. To get there, engineers have a whole toolbox of techniques, breaking the stream into tiny microbatches, periodically saving the state with checkpointing, using transactions for atomic all-or-nothing updates, and, this one's huge, making your operations idempotent, which just means running them twice has the exact same effect as running them once.
And that leads us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. Getting that perfect textbook exactly once processing is incredibly complex, and it's expensive. So this leads to the pragmatic question every single engineer has to answer. For your specific system, is a simpler model, like at least once delivery, combined with those idempotent operations we talked about, the more practical, good enough choice? The trade-offs between perfection, complexity, and cost are really at the very heart of building real-world stream processing systems.